Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll be talking about how we can implement decision-making statements in Python. But then that begs the question, why decisions, right? Why do we need to implement decision-making statements? Because we are making decisions every single moment, every single day. You get up in the morning and you have to decide whether what is the temperature outside. It is very hot or it is okay. If it is very hot, then you need to carry an umbrella. So that is a decision you are making. You are in the school and you have the option of participating in multiple activities. So you have to decide which activity you want to participate in. You are working on the computer and you have to decide, do you want to actually save this file or it is not as important and you can recreate it later if you need, and probably will not need it at all. So do you want to save this file or not? So that is again a decision that you have to take. That is why we are talking about making decisions. In Python, how we implement this decision making is we first define a statement or a condition that is either true or false. If it is true, then one set of instructions will be executed, and if it is false, then another set of instructions will be executed. Now, as you can see here, I have only shown the set of statements that will be executed if the condition is true. What happens when the statement is false? To start with, I am leaving that out. I am going to take you step by step into the if statement and how it works. So to start with, if the condition is true, then this set of statements will be executed, and if it is false, then it will simply be ignored. Now here the most important thing is that we need to build this condition. This statement has to be written down in a way that its answer is either yes or no. And how do we do that? We do that using relational operators. You have already learned about mathematical and logical operators. Now, in this video, we'll be learning about relational operators. The first relational operator is equal to. You have already used, like in maths, you use equal to, but that is different from the equal to that you are going to use here. The equal to that you are used to is this, but you can see that this equal to that I have written here is double equal to. What does that mean? Suppose you are saying A is equal to 23. Excuse me for this poor 3, but anyways, that's the way it has to be. So now just see what I'm doing. I am writing 2 equal to. Again, I will say A equal to 23. What is the difference? When you say A equals 23 here, just 1 equal to, that means you are assigning the value of 23 to the variable A. But when you are saying A double equal to 23, then you are comparing A with 23. Is A equal to 23 or not? So the answer has to be yes or no. We cannot answer it right because we do not know the value of A in the program. Till this point, whatever is the value of A, it will be compared to 23 and the program will give you the output whether it is equal to 23 or not. If the value of A is 23, then the answer of this statement would be yes, and if A is say 13 or 6 or 2023, then the answer of this comparison statement would be false. This is how the equal to relational operator works. Besides this, we have other relational operators like not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Okay, here I have given you an example of 89 compares to 56. If you write this, then the answer of this comparison would be false. If you write num1 compares to num2, then depending upon the value of num1 and num2, in that moment in the program would decide whether the answer would be true or false. Not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. These are all like self-explanatory. So this is how you use relational operators to build your condition. Let me show you an example. I'll show how it will Python. So you can see the Python screen. Let me open a new file where we can write our program. I already have the program written down, so I will just copy and paste it here. But you will need to write it. Score is equal to int, input, enter marks. Score is greater than equal to 33. Print is equal to pass. I hope you're not wondering why I have written this in, and you remember that whatever input we give using the keyboard, Python takes it as string. But here we are working with integers, so I have to convert that input from string to integer, and that is why I'm doing the conversion here. Now I want to run this program. Run. Okay, so source must be saved. Is it okay to save? Yes, it is okay to save. But for saving, I will have to write the name of the program, if trial, and I'll click on save. So now this program is saved, and we have come back to this, and it says here enter marks. So I'll enter marks. Say I have entered 78. Okay, pass. Now let us run the program again and see what will happen if I enter something less than 33. So this is another instance, enter marks. I have written, say, 25. Nothing happens, and nothing has happened. We know this because we have got this command prompt again. So if the statement is true, then it will print pass, which we saw it did. And if it is false, then nothing happened. So you have seen how the if statement is working. Now what happens when the condition is false? In that case, what will happen here is, if the condition is true, then one set of statements will be executed, and that is block 1. Otherwise, the next set of statements would be executed. Let me show you how to do that. Now, in that same program, I'll make the changes. So I'm opening that file, and now I will write another set of statements. Here we are just having one, so I will be writing what happens when it is less than 33. Print you have failed. I will run it again. Okay, yes, please save it. We'll save in the same file. Now enter marks. Now if I enter 25, you have failed. Try again. So you see the difference? This is the program that I have shown here. Now let us do another mini program, even or odd, where we are actually doing some calculations in the condition that we have built. Let me open Python again, a new file. And like I told you earlier, I have this program written down. So I will copy and paste it here. And I will run it, and let me see what happens. Yes, it has to be saved. So I will save it as even. I will save this, and now it will run. Enter an integer. 45. 45 is odd. I'm sure you want to run a program and see the even thing as well. I'll run it and enter 36. Now you must be wondering, is it not possible to run the program again and again till I want to stop running the program? Because here what we are doing is, every time we are running it and then getting the inputs. That is something that we'll be doing in the next video. It is called loops. When you repeat a set of instructions again and again, as many times as you want, that is loops. For now, we will stick to opening the program again and again, because in this video we are just doing the decision making. I've entered 36. 36 is even. That is done. Now, something very interesting. Interesting, why? Because we can also have an if statement within an if. Do you remember this execution block? Till now we have only been having just one line of instruction, but we can have multiple lines, isn't it? And it can have anything, which means that it can have if within if also. Why do we need this? It helps in validating the logic, and if there is something that we need to check that decision making is in multiple steps, then we can do this. For example, the first thing that I'm checking is if age is greater than 0. Because if the age is negative, then it is an invalid age, right? So I am checking it upfront. If age is greater than equal to 0, only then this set of instructions would be executed. Otherwise, it will straight away go and say that it is an invalid age. And this is a very small example. Further, you will see that there are other more deeper levels of decision making. Again, let me open Python for you, and then you will see how it actually executes. What do you want to check first, true or false? Let me check the false. It is always more interesting. -45. Invalid age. Now let me do something more interesting. Age is 0 and the answer is minor. What if I say age is 0.6? Why this happened? Can you tell me? Let me show you the program and maybe then you should be able to tell me. What you have here is you have converted the age, or rather you are taking it as an input, whereas 0.6 is a float. Now let me see. Invalid literal for int. So there is something wrong with this integer. It is definitely wrong because the input is supposed to be integer, whereas I have given here 0.6. Now let me run the program and give a proper age. So the age is 15. Now it is minor. And now let me see if it will work for adults as well. Adult. So we have written and executed this program successfully. In this case, we are having only two levels of decision making. First one is we are checking whether the age is greater than 0 or not. And then the next decision that we have to make is whether the age is less than 18 or not. Print minor or adult accordingly. But what if we have multiple levels of decisions to be made, multiple conditions that need to be checked? In that case, we use elif. Okay, Python executes the first true branch from top to bottom. So what exactly does that mean? You see the first if statement, score is less than 0 or score is greater than 100, which means if score is not between 0 and 100, then this will be printed invalid marks. Score is less than 0, so if we input negative marks, or score is greater than 100, so if we input 101, then it is invalid marks. Otherwise, if it is between 0 and 100, then this whole statement from here to here will get executed, ending with int fail. That is how elif will work. Let me open ideally and show you how it works. Now let me run the program. Okay, so let's say I got 94, grade A plus, awesome. Now I will run it again and say I'm saying 125, invalid marks. So this is how Elif is working. But you know what? If else can be a tricky beast. Let me just show you an example of another program where we have overlapping conditions. So if I'm saying if score is greater than equal to 33, then print grade C. Then if it is greater than 90, the grade would be printed as A plus. But actually this is an reachable condition. Let's do this manually so that you will get a feel of how you should actually be checking your program before running it. So if I say marks is equal to 95, what will happen? If score is greater than equal to 33, is 95 greater than equal to 33? Of course it is. So grade C will be printed. Whereas I wanted it to come here. So what is happening here? This part of the instruction is unreachable. So actually what I should have done is, if score is greater than equal to 90, print grade A plus, and only then I should have come back to, if the score is greater than equal to 33, then print grade C, like I am doing here. There is a reason I went from higher grade to lower grade, because if I go from lower grade to higher grade, then obviously the lower one would always be satisfied, and then all the rest of the branches will not be reached. You will not get the correct output. Now there is one other difference between this program and the previous one. Let me go back and show you the difference. If we are talking about this if, then the condition is a combination of two things. Score is less than 0 and score is greater than 100. We are using OR to check more than one conditions together. You can do this using logical operators and OR and NOT. For example, age is greater than 18 and city is Bokaro. Marks is what we did just now. Marks is less than 0 or marks is greater than 100. You can use both and or the same condition. Let's take a few examples and then you will understand how it actually works. There is something new that I have introduced here, and that is city.lower. You can see that city is the variable here, and city.lower means it will convert whatever input is there into lowercase, because when we are comparing, then that comparison is case sensitive. So I B and B are different entities for Python. You know that it is case sensitive. You can try this out. B is equal to, or rather B compares to B, then the output will be false and not true. So that is why I need to use this dot lower function to handle the uppercase and lowercase inputs. Now whatever input anybody gives, the output will be correct because we are converting everything into lowercase. So this is how we are using AND here. You already have the example of OR. Now here we are using both AND and OR. The average marks of the student should be greater than or equal to 75. Plus, I also want that in maths and science, they should have scored more than 80 for them to be eligible for admission. Now, these are very simple programs, and you can just try them yourself on Ideally or whatever app that you are using. There is one more interesting thing that I would want you to know, and that is range check. What does range check mean? Range check is what we were doing in that program where we were checking whether the marks was between 0 and 100. I wonder if you remember, but if you have to write that A is greater than 0 and A is less than 100. Let me erase this here and right. So this is what we will be writing. But in maths, you can write it like this. It is not looking very neat, but I'm sure you understand it. So this is something that we can do in Python as well, which I have done in this program. You just have to check whether the variable lies between the two given values. I have taken the example of temperature. You can take example of any other variable. It could be marks, it could be age, any other value. If temperature is between 36 and 37.5, print this is a normal body temperature. Otherwise, you will print that it is out of range. We have talked a lot about writing code. So I want to discuss a few common errors, and just now I have noticed that I have also made an error. Look at the spelling of common. Actually, this A should not be there. I have removed it. I'm a writer, I cannot see such mistakes. So common errors. If x is equal to 5, no, you cannot use single equal to. Then what will happen? X will be assigned the value 5 and the answer will always be true. So the set of instructions in the true branch will always be executed. So you have to use double equal to sign. You must give this colon. The wrong Elif order is sorting from lower to higher. You cannot say marks is greater than 33 and then marks is greater than 60. Then the marks will always be greater than 33 and grade C would be printed. So what you have to do is you have to sort from higher to lower. Then overlapping ranges, again that unreachable code example that we took. So what you should do is you should write down the range on paper first, write an algorithm, make a flow chart, whatever you are more comfortable with, but do that. Next, let us talk about a very common error, and that is when you have to compare a variable to two different values and then you tend to do it in the same statement. So grade comparing to 7 or 8. No, my dear, you cannot do that. You have to write two different expressions. Grade is equal to 7 or grade is equal to 8. So if either is correct, grade is 7 or grade is 8, then it will be executed correctly. What will happen here? Are you wondering that? Here what is happening, Python is taking the two expressions as grade is equal to 7 and 8, which is really interesting because 8 is not an expression, 8 is just a number and it exists. So it will always be true. So if you write grade is equal to 7 or 8, then this expression will always execute to true. And whatever you have written in false, that condition will never be reached. And last but not the least, we have to take care of the case sensitivity for text inputs. Like we were doing when we were comparing the city name to Bokaro. I converted it to lowercase because somebody could input Bokaro with a capital B, somebody could do it with a smaller b, somebody could write all in uppercase, somebody could write all in lowercase. When in my program, I was comparing them only with the lowercase Bokaro. So these were the common errors that we discussed and I wanted you to remind of them. And now I have two practice programs for you. The first one is a store gives discount if the person is a child less than equal to 10 years of age or senior, that is greater than or equal to 60 years of age, and they live in Bokaro. Write a program to implement this rule. So there are actually three conditions that you are checking. They should live in Bokaro and their age is less than equal to 10 or their age is greater than equal to 60. Just look at it how you want to do that. There can be a couple of ways of doing the same program, which I have emphasized in the second question. Find the largest of three given numbers in two different ways. It is a very easy program, but then you have to do it in two different ways, because for the same logic, different people would implement it in a different way. The same problem, you would write a different program and your friend would write a different program, and both of you get the correct output. If you get the correct output, then both of the programs are right. So I want you to try and write in two different ways. Even the first program that I have given, that can be done in multiple ways, 2, 3, even 4 ways. That was all for today. In the next video, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about looping. Looping is executing the same set of instructions again and again. In decision making, we were executing a set of instructions depending on a condition was true or false. In loops, the same set would be executed again. That is all for today. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, so that next time I post a video, you will get to know about it immediately. If you have any queries regarding decision making, Python, operators that you have learned about, anything related to this, anything related to Python, you can drop a comment. I promise to answer. If you think someone you know would find it useful, please share it with them. And you can ask them to subscribe and like as well. That's all for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.